Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Royal Instinct. Today we are going to do a deep dive again on Looksmaxxer, Clavicular, and why he is the biggest internet pimp right now, the biggest OnlyFans pimp. Okay, this is a video that I came across, and it kind of triggered something in my head. I kind of realized something about the pipeline of a lot of these famous streamers, the biggest streamers in the world, um, you know, streaming their whole lives in essence. Okay, them going around, doing random shit, just going to clubs, being degenerates, and they get a lot of views. They have built up a massive audience, but they're all surrounded by these girls. Okay, and these girls being OnlyFans models, right? So Neon is a big example of this. He is always surrounded by OnlyFans models. Clavicular is obviously the new guy on the block, and he is always surrounded by these Instagram models, OnlyFans models. Okay, um, and Jack Doherty, he also was always surrounded by OnlyFans models. Why is this? Okay, it is a pipeline that they have built. Okay, that these streamers, because they have so much attention on them, that they try to monetize their attention by promoting OnlyFans girls. Okay, by promoting degeneracy, because their audience is young, impressionable men, who are watching their content, right? And then they see these, very, very attractive women on these live streams, you know, and they all tend to be OnlyFans models. Okay, it is deliberate. It is a pipeline that they have built. It is a marketing funnel for these OnlyFans girls, so that they can further promote their um, OnlyFans pages, right? Their links to their website, so that you can indulge in their pornographic content, adult content, and the breakdown of the contract is usually 80-20% split towards the streamer, right? So Clavicular is making 80%, the model is making 20%, and that is the way Jack Doherty, operated for many years, um, you know, building this pipeline of promoting these women, promoting these girls. And that is how they're making money on the side by, monetizing your views. Okay. Because they are hoping that because you are a incel, because you are somebody who is lonely, that you will subscribe to these pages of these women, and they will get a kickback, they will get a cut in terms of 80% in some cases, right? Um, yeah, I came across this video. I thought it'd be an interesting thing to discuss. I don't see many other people talking about it, so let's jump straight in. Let's see what is going on.
The OF contracts? Maybe, but also, is that a member of the Israeli mafia in his stream?
Why is Clavicular surrounding himself with members of the Israeli mafia in his live streams? Okay, why is that? Because a lot of these mafia members, a lot of these gangster members, are also peddling and trafficking women. Is this a big human trafficking network that is being built, being monetized on live streams on platforms such as Kick and Twitch? Is that the new way that these men are making money?
Is this a kick streamer that blew up really fast on stream with an Israeli mafia member that just
I mean, it is kind of coincidental if you see his come up. And what is so special about Clavicular? Okay, he is just somebody who is famous for looks maxing, and now he is, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, live streamer on the internet. How does that happen? Okay, like, is it just coincidental? Is it because he is so charming, charismatic? No, if you've listened to any interviews done by the guy, he is a fucking as charismatic as a paper bag. Okay, there's literally not much going on in his head apart from his hopes and dreams of what he calls ascending by being the best looking man in the room, on the internet, abusing his body in ways that really a young man like himself should not be going through right now. Okay, taking testosterone, making himself infertile in the process, all for clout, all for being able to be viewed as somebody who is important. um don't get me wrong, clout is important, being, having high status is important, but here on this channel, the way that we do it is by becoming subject matter experts, by becoming people who have authority for reasons, because we are seen as subject matter experts, okay? Because we are within a life zone genius, because we are within, doing the thing that we are supposed to do on this planet, right? Whereas this guy is just somebody who is, he is a subject matter expert at Looksmaxxing. I will give him that, but he's using his clout, to make money by promoting OnlyFans girls, and him being linked to members of the Israeli mafia, people, shady people who have, arrest warrants on their head, who have criminal cases against them. It kind of makes sense, right? That he is involved with shady members of the underworld.
So happens to be the brother of another wanted mafia affiliate that I covered in a previous video. Uh-oh, hopefully this isn't something I wasn't supposed to notice, because I'm scared now. But first, what do Andrew Tate, Jack Doherty, and Clavicular have in common? Well, how do I say this without getting demonetized? Well, I'll just let the man, the myth, the legend himself, Varys, aka the ASU frat leader, tell you what I'm trying to say.
So this is a guy that, within the world of Looksmaxxing, there's this concept called mogging, where you basically out alpha somebody else by looking better than them. And because this guy is also on steroids, because he is roided up to his neck, but he kind of uses the steroid cycle that he's on to actually produce big muscles, unlike Clavicular. It was, in this picture that they took together, he looked like he out alphaed him because he had bigger muscles, right? So he made Clavicular look small, and he took the internet, by storm. And now he has also launched his own social media campaign, his own social media platforms, content, so that he is also a Looksmaxxer now within this sphere of this streaming world.
You have vulnerable girls like Scarlett, Mia. They're like, what is this stuff? What's OnlyFans? Like, what's so cool about it? Like, what? This next part that I'm about to say.
So again, he also noticed that Clavicular is all surrounded by these OnlyFans girls. Why is that? Why is he promoting these type of women? Why is it? Because why not just get normal girls on your platform, on your streams, right? Well, the thing is, you can't make money off of normal people, right? You need to get women who have something to sell, okay? And in this case, it is the subscription to the OnlyFans, the content that they have on their OnlyFans, pornographic content, that they are promoting. And that is, Clavicular, because he sells them the stream. He's like, look, if you jump on my stream, all these people are going to watch. A portion of them will subscribe. This is exposure that I'm giving you that otherwise you would not have had. Therefore, because I'm providing the exposure to you, you owe me 80% of the revenue that you generate.
Also happened allegedly. So 3 days ago, allegedly, I get a phone call from Scarlett. She's like bawling her eyes out. I don't really know what to do. I signed an OF contract, allegedly with Daddy Clav.
So again, this guy is saying that this model who has been on Clavicular's streams, she has signed a OnlyFans modeling agency contract with Clavicular, basically making him the agent who is there for marketing purposes, for promoting purposes. And therefore, because he is producing the service and giving this exposure to this lady, he is now entitled to 80% of her total earnings. I mean, I don't have any problem with that. I guess 50-50 would be fucking fairer, right? But a lot of these women, a lot of women who try OnlyFans, they don't actually make any money, right? So the fact that they get this boost in exposure by being on Clavicular streams, and the demographic that watches his streams live, they are the type of people who would subscribe to an OnlyFans, right? Because they tend to be lonely men. They tend to be young men who don't have a dating life, okay, and they need to get their rocks off in one way or another, and OnlyFans content, pornographic content, is one way that they do it. So it kind of makes sense that, you know, that he kind of, you know, provides a platform for him to showcase, you know, these ladies, and they can showcase their, you know, their persona, I guess. You know, and that if they want, they can get more exclusive content via their OnlyFans. This is the scenario that has happened. This is how Clavicular got exposed.
70-30. He gives me a free house, and like I feel so
70-30% split, and he houses them, he promotes them, he feeds them, I guess. So in essence, he is their pimp, right? So Clavicular is acting as a pimp. And you know, pimping has changed, right? Like, I mean, obviously when you hear the word pimp, you think of, like, right, some blinged out guy, you know, wearing expensive clothes, expensive suits, you know, a lot of jewelry, you know, driving a Cadillac, right? Like the stereotypical pimp, right? But that doesn't exist anymore, right? Prostituting women, that does not exist right now. A lot of more money is made via the internet, by, you know, selling content, right? And Andrew Tate is somebody who profited massively off of this. You know, he ran a webcam model agency, and you know, then he pivoted to selling, you know, women and their content on via Instagram towards their OnlyFans, funneling that audience. So this is like the current playbook for pimps. Okay, this is how to become a pimp, right? So if you want to be a successful pimp, you have to first become a successful live streamer, right? That is what the new age in this current meta that we find ourselves is, the type of pimp that you see. And you know, does Clavicular do it, you know, just by running this agency? No, he also surrounds himself with actual shady characters, people who have a criminal past, such as the Israeli mafia.
bad. I don't know what to do. Like I want to go home.
But Clav is allegedly just doing something that Andrew Tate pioneered, that Jack Doherty did better, because
Yeah, Jack Doherty is somebody who, you know, I mean, he became famous, I believe, like when he was 12, 13 years old as a child. You know, he blew up on the internet, generated an audience, and then that audience kind of stuck around. And when he started live streaming, he was always surrounded by attractive women, right? Attractive girls, young women, who happened to always have a OnlyFans subscription that they were selling. Okay, so that is the current state. That is how society kind of at the moment believes that they can make money in a world where you know, we have rising costs, we have you know, spiraling cost of living crisis going on right now. A lot of people are feeling the squeeze, and they want to live a life of luxury. They want to be surrounded by wealth, and OnlyFans seems to offer that easy money, right? However, you have to realize this: most OnlyFans models, only the top 1-2% actually make any money. The other women just kind of, you know, they might get spiked for a month or two. I think like the average amount of money that you can make on OnlyFans for the average woman is like $3,000 a year. So they are literally, you know, making $300 every month. It's peanuts. Is it worth, you know, degrading yourself in that way? Is it worth, you know, kind of ruining your reputation, to be seen as an adult content creator for the rest of your life? Okay, because the internet never forgets. The internet will never let you down. And you know, even though you might not be making a lot of money, right, if something was to happen where you was to you know, find yourself in a position where, you know, now you are a prominent person in society, you know, your past will come back to haunt you. Okay, so therefore it is not worth going down this route, because most people will actually fail in this scenario, in this way. Hang on.
it didn't end up with criminal charges.
It makes a lot of money.
Did he
but
sell you
it
a
does
dream?
Make me sad though.
He sold you a dream?
Yeah, he did.
What did he say?
Like, crazy. Like I was gonna be a multi-millionaire, and we're not there yet.
Like, how much percent do you is
So this girl here is a former employee, a former OnlyFans model that worked with Jack Doherty, and you have Neon, the live streamer. He is kind of digging and interviewing her, exposing, trying to find that dirt on what the situation of the contract is. And she even said herself that he sold her a dream that she would become a multi-millionaire. Well, if the split is 80-20, right? She would need to bring in 5 million every year for her to make a million, right? Because she only gets 20 percent of it, Jack Doherty will end up with 4 million. And it is just not a realistic figure. I think, like, close to, because I think Jack Doherty only made about 2-3 million off OnlyFans anyway. So his average model makes maybe 500,000 a year, 50,000 a month, which is still good money, right? Don't get me wrong, it's good money. But the dream that was sold, the promises that were made have not been kept up. And you can kind of see this girl isn't, I don't know if she's under the influence in this video. She probably is. She doesn't seem like the most self-aware. She doesn't seem like, she kind of, she's a young lady. She doesn't know how to manage her situation, her financial situation. She put her trust in Jack Doherty, and he let her down. He abused her trust.
Taken from you.
A huge amount.
How much is it?
When I started, 80%.
He took it.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely drunk or high in that video. But she's exposed him. She said he takes 80%. That is kind of like, I think a 50-50 split is fair. But 80%, 80, with 80% going towards Jack Doherty, that is kind of, using is an abuse of power that he has over these women.
80% of you.
And now, Clavicular has allegedly entered this world. Like,
it makes sense. It is the best playbook, right? A lot of people are making money on OnlyFans, and he has a platform to promote these, right? Because I mean, you can see on TikTok, you can see on Instagram, you can see on even Twitter, a lot of women promoting their adult content to gain traction towards their OnlyFans pages. And how do you stand out from the crowd? Okay, like, how do you access the type of audience that will end up subscribing to your type of content, right? It is these incel streamers. Okay, it is like these Looksmaxxers, these black pill streamers, these young impressionable men who are watching that type of content. Okay, and when they are watching it, it kind of makes sense that it is already the type of audience who would subscribe to an OnlyFans girls. It's ready made there. Okay, so it kind of makes sense to bring on these women. It's the same playbook that kind of Fresh and Fit used, right? Fresh and Fit had the same type of audience, and then they would bring on a lot of these attractive women who a lot of the time were also selling content on OnlyFans, right? So it is this current meta that has been going on for the last 4 or 5 years, that is working its way around. And I bet you the next big streamer, whoever it may be, who comes up, he will also be surrounded by, you guessed it, OnlyFans girls. It's what is going on. This is how these people make money.
damn, imagine getting signed to a 360 OF contract. But people first started to speculate this after a girl started arguing with the cameraman on Clavicular's stream, where the guy off camera roasted her for being a 28-year-old trying to promote her content by streaming with a 20-year-old.
You're 28 years old on a 20-year-old's live stream trying to sell your OnlyFans subs.
And she replied by saying that she was signed to Clav.
I'm literally signed with Clav.
So you can put 2 and 2 together.
So she exposed him, like this other guy behind the camera was trying to berate her, saying, to try and put her into a place. I don't know. I think maybe she was being drunk, acting out of, acting out of line, I guess, doing things that she wasn't supposed to do because she was intoxicated. And a lot of these streamers, they plow these women with alcohol. Okay, they're doing it to create drama. They're doing it to create, engaging content for their viewers, right? And obviously, you can see that this lady is very attractive. She is a typical beach blonde, Cali girl, very, very attractive. And, when she's in the background of these live streams, right, when Clav is, talking to her, a lot of men will be like, oh, I wish I could be with a girl like that. Well, guess what? She also has an Instagram page, and then she sells a fucking OnlyFans content, right on the page. It is all a funnel, right? She's 28 years old, this lady, right? And he is berating her for being on a 20-year-old boy's man's live stream. Why would she do that? Why is she surrounding herself with someone 8 years younger than herself? Because he is going to give her and provide her with clout so that she can funnel more engagement towards her OnlyFans because it's easy money, right? It's all she got to do is take pictures. Women take pictures of themselves all fucking day anyway, so might as well make some fucking money by wearing skimpier clothes, by being nude, doing spicy stuff, right? And that is the risk, that is the lengths that these women are willing to take. And she says that she has paid, she has signed with Clavicular. Okay, so she's kind of throwing it back in the guy's face, being like, "What the fuck are you surprised? I'm signed to the guy. He's my manager," right? So it is a big scheme that they are running. That is how they are making money.
And I don't know where he was at this point, but when he comes back on camera, this guy is trying to show him something. And although he's trying to keep it a secret, he's trying to figure out what someone said. And you can clearly hear him say that he's talking about the girl behind him.
Who is this?
Brandy?
Bitch behind you. Wait,
I'm Julia.
wait, what? Who? Bitch behind you?
And it gets really tense, like by his face. And
Bitch behind me. I mean, is that how a boss should talk about his employee? Isn't that more how a pimp conducts himself? So that is why, I have, titled the video that, Clavicular is the biggest pimp, the biggest OnlyFans pimp online right now, streaming, and basically because they got caught, like because they're live streaming all the fucking time, and that basically they got kind of exposed on the live stream. Now they're trying to do damage control. Now they're trying to work their way around, because obviously Clavicular doesn't want to be fucking known as a pimp. He doesn't want to be known as a OnlyFans agent, OnlyFans manager. They're trying to do some damage control to get the situation under wraps, because that is not what Clavicular wants his audience to know, that what's going on.
the tone change of the guy off camera, you'd think they just accidentally committed a crime on stream. However, Varys gives a pretty crazy account from a phone call he says he received from a crying girl in Clavicular's house. And just by the way he says this,
"Oh shit. Oh shit."
I believe him. That is the tone of someone who just says something out loud that he thought he was supposed to keep secret. But if you watch a few of this guy's streams, you'll notice that there seems to be a pretty consistent girl in the background. Like, I don't know who she is, and she usually doesn't talk, but she's always lingering around in the back. And
so the girl in the background, the guy in the video is going to allude to this in a minute, that she is basically, she is the Ghislaine to Clavicular being Epstein, okay? That she is the one who, kind of befriends the girls, tells them everything's cool, this guy, you'll be safe here, come along, it'll be fun, right? Like, you lot are pretty, come, it'll be fun, you'll get a lot of exposure. That she is the one who's doing the recruiting. She's the one who's doing the dream selling, right? The marketing on behalf of Clavicular, to bring these women together onto the show, onto the live stream. So, that they can then see the boost that they get, right? And the first might be for free. Okay, they bring them along, and then they'll be like, "I'll follow them on Instagram." And usually on their Instagram, there's like a link to the OnlyFans, and then if these girls want to return, they'll be like, "Okay, you got to sign a contract." Okay, and in the small print, it will be like an 80-20 split, a 70-30 split towards Clavicular for allowing them the exposure to gain access to his audience that he has cultivated, right? That is what Clavicular is doing. That is how he is selling the dream to these women.
Violet is allegedly a recruiter. And honestly, sometimes it's hard to tell if this is always the same girl, because he has so many different women rotating around him that they all kind of start looking the same. Now, Varys, who went viral for essentially making Clav look like a little boy, because,
just look at his neck, look at his traps compared to the size of his shoulders, right? So if you take steroids, like, your shoulders are going to blow up first, because your shoulders has the most concentrated, it's got the most concentrated androgen receptors, within your shoulders, within your shoulder muscles. That is why your shoulders end up getting so big when you are on steroids, like this guy. But compared to his neck, compared to his traps at the back, okay, unless he's just skipping, doing any type of neck work, any type of upper back work, where he's not even concentrating on his traps. Look, he just looks ridiculous, doesn't he? Like, he's wide as fuck, big shoulders, he's got a chiseled chest, his arms, they're kind of decent, but the fact that his face just looks normal. He's got a small face with a skinny pencil neck, right? I mean, at least, you know, be proportionate about how you conduct your workouts, about how you build muscle, right? So that you don't look odd. I mean, imagine if you add massive traps onto this guy, right? Like, then yeah, he would have a really great physique, right? But the fact that he just looks like absolute, he just looks like a cartoon, right? And I've, and the internet just, you know, because it was a fucking meme, it was a picture, they just kind of went with it. That, and because Clavicular's thing is all about mogging other people, you know, yeah, because he came across somebody with a bigger you know, shoulder span than him, you know, he got out mogged, right? I mean, you know, I kind of feel sorry for Clavicular in this sense, right? He wasn't prepared for this scenario. Like, the other guy's got his shirt off, he's wearing a vest, you know, he kind of fell for this trap.
Jacked, like he's been playing Division I football since 3rd grade. He seemed to add context to these speculations about Clavicular using the Jack Doherty contract method in a rant.
Yeah, and I think this Jack Doherty, you know, method is what most people use. Like, even if you look at Neon, another live streamer, like how does he go about it? Okay, he's always, you know, surrounded by OnlyFans girls, former porn stars who also still have a OnlyFans you know, website page. You know, he's surrounded by Iggy Azalea, who also has an OnlyFans. Okay, so to these women see, like, okay, like these men, these young streamers have an audience, right? If I just come along and I act you know, a little bit provocative, if I act you know, a little bit sexual, you know, that they will find me attractive and come follow my content. Okay, that is how they are using these streamers, right? These women are seeing these streamers as gold mines for them to come and sell their OnlyFans adult content.
About how Clav tried to sign him to an extortionate contract to keep appearing on stream with him, where supposedly he was going to take 80% of the revenue and give Varys 20, which...
So yeah, so, you know, the guy who mogged him because he took steroids, you know, he is somebody who, you know, Clavicular saw that this was going viral. Okay, you know, come be in the live stream. Okay, only if you sign the contract and you give me 80% of the money that you make, right? So that they see their live streams as this not just a marketing funnel, but also this business entity where they cultivate an audience, where they, you know, bring together people who watch their shows, watch their stuff, watch their live streams, and then, you know, the people that they bring on have to pay the curator, the person who built this audience, a fee for using it. Okay, it's the same thing as sponsorships, if you think about it, right? Like, if you've seen sponsorships for things like NordVPN, BetterHelp, you know, Huel shakes and shit like that, right? Like, all your favorite YouTube creator, okay, content creators, they all have these sponsors who see, okay, these businesses see that this person has an audience. That audience is who we want out to buy our product, right? Therefore, let me pay a fee so that I can appear on their, you know, on their live stream. Okay, but because they are a regulated entity, they have to disclose that this is a sponsored ad, right? And so as a viewer, you know that this is an advert. Okay, but with these live streams, there is this gray area. Okay, because, you know, it's you know, they just happen to be in the live stream, these women who also have OnlyFans. Okay, so it's this little gray area that they are conducting in. That is a reason why it is not being made public. That is why. And the other thing is, it kind of hurt his brand, right? Because Clavicular is like the, you know, the face of black pillars, of Looksmaxxers, of incels. You know, he is like the champion for this group of men who are disenfranchised, who are lost in life, who, you know, who kind of feel isolated, and, you know, they feel lonely. You know, and if he was found out to be profiting off of these men, you know, it kind of, you know, puts a mark on his reputation. Okay, because then it kind of looks like, you know, this guy doesn't care about, you know, the isolated lonely men, the incels. He only cares about his bottom line, him making profit. And the same thing happened with Andrew Tate as well, right? He is somebody who's supposed to champion, you know, masculinity and men, and he is running, his Hustlers University, his real world educational program where you can make money and become a millionaire, because he is, so he cares so much about the prosperity of men, right? But what you don't realize is, he got his start, making selling webcam girls, managing webcam girls, rinsing and stealing, squeezing money out of followers of the webcam girls that he was managing, right? And he boasts about it, that he made millions doing this, right? That he was able to lure lonely, desperate men into parting with their hard-earned cash.
Varys refused because, well, he was already viral and he could just make his own money by streaming himself, which he has, as his kick is almost at 10,000 followers. But he was so offended that dude tried to finesse him that he just completely exposed the fact that Clav is now managing these content creators. Sorry, I'm really trying not to get demonetized, but there's only so many ways I can get around saying it. But the girl that called him crying is named Scarlett, allegedly. And part of the deal she had is getting 70% of her profit taken, but all of this leads to a legal gray area.
I mean, 70% of the amount of money made by these OnlyFans content creators has to go to the agent owner, the manager, which in this case is Clav, right? And I think he's about to expose the legal loophole that it violates.
That I noticed a while ago. And honestly, it's pretty strange because doing this on the street will be a felony, but in a digital...
I mean, exactly. So this is the modern pimp, right? It's not even just about being a OnlyFans agent, OnlyFans manager. Right now, you have to become an internet personality so that you can conduct and build an audience and then sell to that audience, right? OnlyFans subscriptions. Okay, these people who that are part of Clavicular's live streams, these people are very, very young men, okay? And I reckon in most cases they're under the age of 18. Okay. So they're under the age of 18 already, right? So in a way, it's they're kind of being groomed to consume adult content, right? Whether the person who's under 18 watching his Clavicular's content is actually buying it, because really they shouldn't be able to, legally buy to sign up to OnlyFans, right? Because it's, they're under 18, right? Whether that's the case or not, okay, imagine if they're 16 years old. That means they're kind of being groomed along this pipeline to be okay with seeing these people, and then as soon as they hit 18, subscribe to the fucking OnlyFans. Okay, it's very I mean, there's no ethics with these people, right? These people have no morals. They are willing to do whatever it fucking takes to make money, right? And look, I don't judge anybody how they make the money, but when you're fucking grooming people, when you're abusing vulnerable men into buying this type of content, okay, because because they kind of watch these streams of Clavicular thinking like, oh, that's the type of life I want to live. Okay, I want to be surrounded by those women, right? But they don't have the same access to that, okay? Because I mean, there is a big debate about how did Clavicular even blow up so much, right? How did he get so big? Is he a asset? Is he a CIA asset? Okay, is he being pushed by somebody in particular? Is it because he is somebody who is got handpicked to push a certain agenda? It kind of looks that way, okay? And when you see the Israeli mafia in the background of his videos, it kind of makes you think, like, question like, hang on a minute, what the fuck is going on? And it should be banned, right? I mean, really, if you really truly think about from a moral point of view, the higher ups at Kick, the people regulating this type of online content, they kind of need to police it and be like, look, man, you can't fucking be promoting OnlyFans girls on your live stream, especially if your audience is under the age of 18. Okay, let's jump into the comments. So we have John Darland 3633. Welcome, John Darland. How did you come across this content? How did you, what made you decide to, jump in the chat today? Tell me what you liked, what you don't like. What are you about? What are you doing in this world? How are you creating a kingdom? Let me know who you are, what you're about. It'd be nice to hear from you. But yeah, I appreciate the message. Yo. Because the government are fine with it, it's easier to tax and and politicians are probably subbing too many models. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it, right? It seems like a massive pyramid scheme, right? Where especially if you look at the whole Jeffrey Epstein situation, right? So you have high level politicians who happen to be friends with one of the biggest human traffickers in the world, right? They all kind of are doing it, you know, in a, you know, scratch my back, I scratch your back. You know, they're allowing these, you know, this degeneracy to go on as long as they are able to, you know, profit from it, as long as they're able to partake in it, I guess, right? And a lot of, you know, these shady people who hang around in the background, these criminals who are human traffickers, you know, they kind of let them get away with it as long as they also provide women to these politicians. So yeah, I mean, they might not even be subbing to the actual OnlyFans pages. They might be actually, you know, being you know, these women are being trafficked to these higher level politicians. So I do agree with you on that point. That is a possibility. In many cases, it is. You know, all you gotta do is look at the Jeffrey Epstein scandal and see what the fuck was going on with that. So they're not subbing and buying the subscription. They're actually tasting the meat and flesh, the goods themselves. Okay, so yeah, that is a great point. I appreciate that, John Darland. Thank you for that. OnlyFans probably generate insane revenue, and a lot of chicks probably broke would otherwise be on the street. Same thing with massage parlors rather than them being on the street. I kind of get what you're saying. I disagree that they'll be on the streets. I think a lot of them, you know, a lot of these women are actually at university. A lot of them are, you know, going to college. You know, they're getting degrees, they're getting an education, right? But it's just easy money for them, right? You know, I'm sure that there's some women who, you know, it's more of a case of, especially women if they're like in a third world country where, you know, this is like a actual alternative for them to make a lot of money, right? But a lot of these American and British and European OnlyFans girls, right? They've got a good life. They come from a great family. Like, even if you know the people like here in England, like Bonnie Blue, for example, right? Like she's an OnlyFans girl, you know, who blew up because she's shagging like 1,000 men, right? She is like she had a great job. She was married. Do you get what I mean? Like, she had a great education. She's got great parents. Lily Phillips is the other one who I'm thinking of. You know, like there was a documentary where they showcased her parents. Like she's like a middle class girl, right? So there's no need for her to do this, right? She could have married someone wealthy. She could have, you know, she had access to a great job. Okay, she could have made her own money in a you know, more ethical way, if you say, right? But they chose it because it's easy money, right? The returns are so huge if you make it big on our OnlyFans that they are willing to take that risk. Okay, so I understand what you're saying. I agree in some cases that you know, it is either prostitution or, you know, doing you know, stripping or escorting, or in this case OnlyFans, you know, selling OnlyFans content, adult content. So it's kind of safer, I guess, you know, for the ladies, you know, from a actual physical harm point of view, right? But they're still then surrounded by shady characters and human traffickers, right? And getting into contracts with a guy like Clavicular where they have to split the you know, the revenue and profits earned 80-20, right? 70-30, right? So they're still getting exploited, right? But it's just an easy way that they see to make money, right? That is how they fall into it. And a lot of time, if it's an American girl, if it's a girl from a first world country, England, Europe, right? They have other alternatives. They just choose not to do it, okay? Because it is just so easy for them to post pictures online and make a bag, especially when you have people like who's that famous one, Sophie Rain. You know, when she's boasting about making like 10 million a year, you know, women see that and they get jealous. They're like, fuck it, I'm prettier than that girl, I can make more money, right? So that is how they get sucked into this world. Authorities know what's going on. Yeah, I mean, it's like a legal, you know, it's a gray area. Okay, so it's not like illegal, but it's kind of verging on, you know, morality and ethics. So they can kind of get away with it because there's no legislation around it. It is so new, it's happening so fast that they can kind of circumvent it and get around it. I think it's easy money, but they won't shut it down. Consider how we have an only online safety act blocking porn, but they won't introduce legislation that makes income from OnlyFans illegal. Yeah, no, I agree. I think you're right what you're saying. they can't shut it down, because then you're taking away agency and freedom. And then the other problem is, when you make it illegal, is that there's still a demand for pornography and adult content. So then you have that type of content, and the production of that type of content goes to the black market. Okay, and then you have gangsters, mafia type people, shady characters making this type of content with women who are being trafficked. So in kind of to safe keep women within that industry, you kind of have to legalize it in order to make sure that those women are safe and that they're consenting to it. All right. That is why, yeah, I agree, it's not going to be shut down. And it's a huge revenue maker, right? I mean, it could be a case, right, where in a couple of years, that the whole economy of the Western world is just fucking porn. that only women, like AI comes in and takes over, right, all industries. Men are out of job, and only women can go online and sell the fucking boobs, asses, and feet. But even the other thing with AI, okay, I mean, it's going to get, AI is going to get so good that a lot of these women are going to be out of a fucking job soon as well, right? So AI adult content creators are here. Their AI influencers will take the place of a lot of these OnlyFans girls anyway, right? So it is a dying industry. It's only a short amount of time that they have to make money, and then they will be replaced as well, very, very soon. You're on the roll today, John Darland. You are sending loads of messages. They care only enough to save face. Just like most things, they'll show acknowledgement but not act enough such that any difference is made. It gets them tax money. Yeah, it's all about money, man. This is what I believe anyway, right? So there's going to be a new change in the world order, right? Like the elite at the top, they have a big plan in place right now. You know what they want to do is to basically control humanity, control the resources, right? So they are willing to just in any way squeeze you of your money to pocket it for themselves, right? That they are you know basically trying to align their pockets, because there is a war coming, there is a massive change in the world order. So they want to make as much money as they can, so that they can escape the people that their families that they care about, their elite circles. They want to isolate themselves, right? In order for them to if when there is a massive revolt, when China comes along or Russia comes along to try to create a World War III around the globe, that they can be isolated. Okay, but they don't care about the normal people in the world. They don't care about the normal people in life. They just want to take your resources, your energy, your time, and they want to control and manipulate you. At the end of the day, wages just haven't kept up. Yeah, I agree with you. Thanks. Things aren't expensive. They've been going up in cost, but when you've got IT jobs paying minimum wage now, just what's the point? Yeah, I agree, man. Like, it is becoming more and more difficult for a lot of people. A lot of people are lost in life. A lot of people have lost hope. But that is why, like, what I'm doing with this channel, right? I'm someone who recognizes it. You are somebody who recognizes what is going on. Okay, but what do we do about it? Okay, do we just sit back, cry about it? Do we just sit back and lose hope and lose faith and become depressed about it? Right? If our freedoms are being taken away, if we are on the verge of our autonomy being taken away, like, how are you going to save yourself, right? How are you going to save your lineage, right? That is why you need to become a point of authority. And John, I encourage you to try, right? Become a living king, right? Form your own nation, right? Try to escape the system yourself. Okay, become a leader that the world needs, right? Because the world is going down a dark path right now, and we need more leaders. We need people to become heroes, right? That is what the world is lacking right now, because the people who are the heroes of the world right now are people like Clavicular, okay, who are guiding and taking men down the wrong path. That is why me and you need to come together to form a new alliance. We need to come together to form a new way of life. That is what we are doing on this channel. And like, whatever your interests are in life, okay, whatever the thing that you like doing in the world, right, become a subject matter expert in that, right? And when you are seen as a subject matter expert, you are, once you're seen as a subject matter expert, you are seen as a point of authority. And then once you are seen as a point of authority, you can make a lot of money, right? Even if you look at Clavicular, like how did he become so big? It's because he's seen as a point of authority within the Looksmaxxing sphere, right? So again, it is your choice. You can do something about it, and I hope you do something about it, okay? But thank you for your comments today, bro. I'm the only one here. Yeah, I know. Usually, sometimes I don't get no one messaging me, so I just do the whole thing all the way through. So anyway, I'm going to take a nap. Just got back from work. We need to fight the system by saving and gradually building wealth. That's what I believe, and it's hard, requires discipline. But that's yeah. I mean, enjoy your nap, John Darland. I enjoyed hearing from you. It was nice. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, we need to fight the system. Yeah. But saving and gradually building wealth isn't enough. Okay, you need to become somebody who is seen as a point of authority. You need to be seen as somebody who is a leader on the internet. We're all moving, spending more and more time on the internet. That is why we need to become authorities on the internet. And the way to do it, the way I believe to do it, is by becoming a subject matter expert. And if you are seen as a subject matter expert, you are seen as a point of authority, and then people will defer to you for your leadership. Okay, and if you are a good person like myself, and you probably are, I hope, if you are a good person, then it's in your hands to guide humanity to the right way. We need to claim back our freedom by spending less and just not giving as much. Look at bond yields; they're high. Yep, because no one is buying, but they are buying Chinese bonds. No inflation. That's why. Yeah. I mean, the way that the money works, I don't think you can save yourself out of the situation. Okay, because the elites are still in control of the money supply. Okay, the elites are still in charge of the system in place where you are saving money, right? They're in charge of the banking system, right? That is why I'm telling you to live outside the system. Okay, get outside the system. That is why I am moving outside the system. Okay, I encourage you to build your own nation, build your own kingdom, so that you can live safely outside of the system. Okay, so that you don't have to worry about the system coming to take away your money. Okay, because CBDCs are coming, central bank digital currencies, where they can control the flow of money and your bank accounts. And so I'm telling you to build something of your own, right, where you are the leader, where you are in charge, so that no one can take anything away from you. That is what we are doing here. That is how we are staying safe. Have a good one, bro. Love your stuff. Thank you, John. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate you. I enjoyed talking to you. Enjoy your nap. You're working hard, and let me know what you are building. What is it that you are interested in? Let me know what you are doing to change the world. I would love to hear from you. But let's jump back into the video.
Space, it's technically not against the law, because I mean, good luck trying to explain an OF contract with a kick streamer to a 70-year-old congressman. It does become illegal, however, if a girl is being held against her will, and that's kind of what got Andrew Tate and his brother in trouble, because they were just fine running the webcam business, but when some girls ran to law enforcement in Romania and said they were being held against their will, that's when it became a criminal investigation.
Yeah, and imagine if Clav pisses off one of these women that's working with them, if they're no longer happy with the situation, of the terms of the contract, the 70-30 split, the 80-20 split, they can come along and just be like, oh, this guy's making me work against my will, and then it becomes a criminal investigation. So he is treading in a very gray area. It can very, very quickly turn into a scenario where he is being seen as exploiting women. Whether that's the case or not, okay, it remains to be seen. But already he is showcasing himself to be operating like a pimp, using the Andrew Tate playbook method straight out of his playbook.
But I do have to point out that it's hard to feel sorry for some girls that sign these contracts by choice with this guy, if that is what happened. And Varys even said he asked the Scarlet Girl a pretty valid question regarding the contract.
I kind of told her, I was like, are you a fucking stupid bitch? Why would you ever sign that?
But I understand the trade-off, right? You just being some girl selling this type of content means nothing if no one knows you. Because if no one knows you, then who's going to subscribe to you? And if you don't have any customers, then you don't have any money.
Yeah, that is why someone like Clavicular can abuse his power, can have so much, hold over these women, because he's got the audience, right? He's got access to the platform, the access to the audience that will subscribe to these women, right? So it is this massive pyramid scheme being built. It is this massive, funnel in essence that Kick, and I'm sure like even Kick and OnlyFans, they have some type of partnership and alliance with themselves where, they say, look, man, let me know which OnlyFans girls to promote. Okay, and you know there is some type of network that they have built in the background together, right? Because it's a semi-biotic relationship that they've got going on right now, okay? Because they are capturing and capitalizing on these lonely men, the audience that follow Looksmaxxers like Clavicular, who also are becoming incels subscribing to OnlyFans.
So, for sure, taking advantage of being seen and doing business with a guy who has a huge, mainly male audience would, of course, possibly allow you to make millions of dollars. And if you just getting 30% of that revenue is worth it, then that's on you if you sign it. You can't cry now because you knew you only signed that contract because you was being a clout demon. But then again, Varys did say that some of these girls were being introduced to this type of content by the Violet girl, the one that's always in the background, that he says acts as a
the just lane of the situation, okay? Like every pimp has a bottom bitch, and this Violet chick seems to be Clavicular's bottom bitch who is luring in these women.
recruiter. And he kind of alluded to this Violet girl being the Jelaine in the situation, indicating that she was convincing some girls that didn't make this type of content to make this type of content, which does seem kind of predatory if that's true. But it makes me wonder, does this have anything to do with this guy? Because I saw this video, and this is apparently Hai Waknin, which is very strange, a very strange individual for Clavicular to be seen with. Like, I understand that he sometimes frequents Miami, but what are the odds that I actually made a video about the Israeli?
So this guy here is a part of the Israeli mafia. He is a, you know, part of the underworld, you know, trafficking women, you know, running, you know, backroom, higher stakes poker games, illegal poker games, with celebrities, and, you know, trafficking these women to these events. You know, prostitution is involved, sex workers involved, and these men are using these systems in place, okay? And a lot of these people, these gangster mafia types, are looking at these young streamers making a lot of money, and they're like, I want a piece of that, right? So they are, you know, involving themselves, they're squeezing themselves into the conversation. And you know, when they have a lot of muscles, when they threaten you with violence, you know, and you losing your life or getting robbed, you are quickly going to, you know, do their bidding. You're going to do as they say to save yourself.
Mafia, where I covered his brother, who's actually a wanted man right now. And here's a quick recap from my old video about his brother, just in case you missed it. And when you hear about Israeli crime syndicates, much like the Italian mafia, all you hear about is illegal gambling schemes. But sometimes even that can be a bit more serious. Asaf Wanin is an Israeli crime boss that, despite being deported in 2011, was also present at the illegal poker games in the Hollywood Hills with Gilbert Arenas and the Sicilian mob in 2023. And instead of just relying on people paying back their debt on time, he put together a team of Crips and members of the Mexican Mafia in LA to make sure all these celebrities and rich people didn't even consider not paying what they owed. And one day, an Israeli man who may or may not have been connected to another crime syndicate was leaving a poker game in LA when he was ambushed and killed. And this was apparently something Asaf would mention when threatening people over debt. And then houses started being set on fire in Southern California. And yeah, it starts to get out of hand because, in case you didn't notice,
I mean, you know, does this sound like the type of people that you want to associate with? Why is Clavicular associating with a guy like this? Okay, like throwing fucking Molotov cocktails at LA mansions, right? You know, disappearing people, you know, where they wind up, you know, being found a couple of days later dead, and then, you know, threatening other people with that information. Like, you know, these people are not legit. These people are not to be trusted. And Clavicular is, you know, at house parties with these people in the background, right? You know, he's got enough clout, he's got enough money at this moment in time. Does he need to do that, right? Like, you know, what's the purpose of it? Is it because he's pushing the women that are being trafficked by these people, right, in order to, you know, promote their OnlyFans? Are they getting kickback? Is that why the split is so big, right? That the split is actually, you know, they're saying it's 80-20, 20% going to the women, 8% to Clav. But is it 80% fully going to Clav? Does he have to give 40% to 50% to the Israeli mafia, right, for being the muscle, for being the people who you know, take care of him, right? Is there something more sinister going on?
Illegal gambling is very, very popular in Los Angeles. Really, the entire LA County and Orange County. But all of this is just a criminal complaint against Asaf, since he hasn't actually been caught and he's on the run, believed to be in Mexico. But the LAPD have also tied these gambling houses to the disappearance of a woman named Heidi Plank, as Heidi was last seen at a high-rise in downtown LA that was hosting another one of these gambling houses in a unit, with her car being found a week later. But this was in 2021. As of 2025, she still hasn't been found. But of course, gambling isn't the only thing. Now, in case you couldn't tell from what I learned about him in that video, it would appear that Asaf was the muscle, and his job seemed to involve enforcement and making sure the money was not only being made, but also collected. But still, I consider that me learning about him and then seeing
I mean, did Clav get threatened by these people, by these mafia members? Is he being extorted, right? That is another possibility going on right now, that he is being extorted by these people to give him a certain percentage, a certain amount of money, or his life will be at risk. Is that what is going on? What is happening right now? Do Kick, the platform who is streaming his live stream, are they aware of what's going on? Probably. I reckon they're all in bed with one another. They are all, you know, doing this in order to promote degeneracy, in order for them to promote their platforms and make money. Let's jump into this other video that I found. This is what I originally saw.
Method by Jack Doherty, because Clav has been basically been accused of supposedly signing women to contracts, 80-20 contracts, 365 contracts, basically contracts for OnlyFans deals, and he was trying to sign the ASU frat leader to a streaming contract. And a lot of people are having backlash on Clav, and some people online were going as far as to say it's basically just like prostitution, which I wouldn't agree with that, but I would agree that all the women on his
Well, even if it's not prostitution, it's definitely exploitation, right? Because you're kind of dangling this carrot of this massive audience and potential future earnings, in order for them to make a lot of money. But are those promises met? Do you get what I mean? Like, how is this money being distributed? Okay. And a lot of the time, these people who are signing these contracts, they seem to be fucking out of it, right? They are taking drugs, they are being drugged up, they are being boozed up to the fucking eyeballs, right? They don't have, kind of any business acumen anyway, right? They are literally pawns being used and abused by these people. And especially now, you know, with this new information about the Israeli mafia being behind it, like, it seems a lot more shadier. Are these women trafficked? Are these women being held there against the will? Somebody needs to do an investigation.
stream are most likely just signed to them. They're not just there for the fun of the game. They're not just there for the thrill of the ride. Like, they've got to be making money. Like, they're not there because Clav is just like an attractive guy. Like, they're there because they're making a bag. Like, if Clav is making 20 grand a day, like, bro, he's got to be forking up some cash for some women. Like, I'm just saying, allegedly. The part I'm wondering is, like, bro, how does getting frame mogged by an ASU frat leader turn you into a guy who's like basically Jack Doherty, to where you're signing girls to OnlyFans contracts? I'm so hesitant to believe that it's true. Just
So he appears to be like a fanboy of Clavicular, and he's wondering how can that happen. But like, I think if the money is so big, right, if the figures are so huge, you know, the potential earnings, then why wouldn't he fucking do it, right? Because what else is this guy going to do? How else is he going to fucking make money, right? He's already a, you know, clown on the internet, a jest on the internet. He's not really fucking contributing anything particular, right? Like, he came at this as a Looksmaxxing, you know, expert. But in his live streams, there's no Looksmaxxing going on. It's more him just being a degenerate, right? So, you know, there is no long-term strategy. There's no long-term view. They are just trying to make as much money as they possibly can to milk the system. And, you know, Clavicular probably realizes, right? The lifespan of a fucking live streamer is very short anyway. There's a high rise, a quick rise. You kind of, you know, coast there for a while at the top, and then you fucking crash hard, right? And I'm sure, especially with a guy like him who seems unstable, who is on all types of medication, who is, you know, snorting and smoking meth, you know, it is going to end in tears for him anyway. So he thinks, fuck it, I might as well make as much money as I can so that he can get his leg lengthening surgery, so that he can get his jaw widening surgery, right? That is what they all care about. That is what they are trying to do. Let's jump back in the video.
It does seem like it's a thing that just kind of like rumors at this point. Like, some people online seem to think like, oh, this is set and done, like it's all set in stone. like it's obviously a true case. But I'm like, it seems like it's a bit far out there. Accusations go from, well, he's trying to sign the ASU frat leaders, so that must mean he's signing OF girls, to that must mean the OF girls are being signed unfairly. Like, it just seems like the accusations just get more and more heavy, and like it just doesn't seem like it's quite time to make those accusations until more information comes.
Yeah, I mean, someone needs to investigate these accusations, see what is going on truly, to see what is going on. Like, are there people being harmed and exploited under Clav?
That many people feel had some type of secret backer could have still been a coincidence, and it very well could be. And yeah, I've heard the claim that the Mafia affiliate was only there to get Clav unbanned from clubs in Miami or something, and sure, High is very connected in Miami. But that does not make it any less sketchy, because of course the Mafia could get you unbanned from nightclubs, but in a 2004 article from the Jewish news outlet Forward,
I mean, if he only used them to unban him from the Miami nightclub scene, like, they would want something in return. Do you get what I mean? They're not just going to do it for free. They're not doing it out of their fucking goodwill. They're not running a charity, right? They want something in return. They want him, a part of the money that they're making. And I'm sure, it's probably mutual extortion at this point. What's going on?
It was reported that High was often seen in Las Vegas with ladies of the night, which is something that, in my opinion, could have led to his meeting with Clav, as if what this girl and Vera said is true, it would seem as if High could be helping connect Clav with some of these girls, if not the other way around, which, either way, would be really dangerous.
So, again, so, you actually have an actual pimp who would have normally trafficked these women, and made them to become, women of the night, prostitutes, escorts, etc. Okay, working the streets for him, working clubs for him to make money by selling pussy. Now he's like, well, no one's buying sex that way. Let me pivot these women to become OnlyFans models, right? And I'll take a cut off their money. And then he's like, well, how do I get the audience, right? Because he's a fucking pimp. He is a background shady character. Oh, let me find these famous Instagram, these famous live streamers and jump on their platform, because that's where you have a ready-made audience, right? That is the pipeline that they are working with. That is how the current streaming world is operating. Okay, it is a big funnel for OnlyFans. Okay, it is just a massive money grab for these online adult creators. And Clav seems to be the mega pimp right now. He is the one who is signing these women to 80-20 contracts in order for him to cash in on his hype and fame right now. But that is it for today. I thought it was an interesting deep dive that we've done. This is something that I only became aware of the other day, and I thought it would be interesting to talk to you guys about it. Let me know what you think. But that is it for today. Thank you very much, and I will see you tomorrow.